Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. So, who's a sad guy?
I mean, I ain't sad.
Well, because it doesn't affect you yet. Are
It
you
doesn't
gonna? Are
affect me
you?
yet.
Are you gonna get sad when it does affect you?
I am. I am. Yeah, I mean, you think this is fine or whatever.
Yes. And what we're talking about is, because you guys are going to be watching this in the future, so who knows what the hell's happened in the next couple days before this thing actually posts out there. Hell, there's probably like everybody infected and like we're in zombie apocalypse mode when you're watching this. But you think it's stupid that Disney shut down their parks and things.
I don't think it's dumb they shut down their parks. I mean, I still am of the opinion that regardless of what measures you take, this is something you're not going to be able to avoid forever.
Maybe not forever. There was just a giant. So a lot of praise went out amazingly to China and South Korea today about the work that they've done to actually get in front of this pandemic and basically stop it in those countries.
Right. But I mean, you're talking about a totalitarian regime
Sure.
versus America.
But one of the things that they're attributing it to, like one of the things is definitely the mass testing and not letting people like go home. They're not doing home quarantines because they realize that those would not be effective and those wouldn't work. People would still go out and do shit anyway. But one of the other
Well,
things,
China did home quarantines.
no, they said that China did not do home quarantines.
That's absolutely
the
not
whole
true.
NPR story that I heard today was talking about they did not allow home quarantines in China. That's why they built those hospitals, is they forced everybody into those hospitals. I don't know how true. That's the NPR story that I listened to today about it. But the other thing that they attributed to was the social distancing. And there's big articles that came out on that today, and that how much that drastically drops the spread is by having people like shutting things down and not doing things. Like trust me, I'm a sad guy. I was getting in on a NCAA bracket this year for the first year in a long time, and I was going to be super excited. You just ran right by the bed that you wanted to sleep in.
Oh, I didn't realize it was dark yet.
But they just basically canceled all sports
Right.
for the foreseeable future, like NFL. I don't know NFL. I don't know. The first thing I said was NFL because I love the NFL. It's not even NFL season. NHL, NBA. I don't know if I read about baseball or not, but the March Madness tournaments, the NCAA basketball tournaments, they just shut down, and then the XFL just announced that they were suspending the season indefinitely. I actually wonder if the XFL is going to come back.
Right.
They might not be. They were doing okay at the beginning, but then it kind of started to go downhill again. So I don't know if they'll be able to come back. But
so how long is this supposed to last?
I don't know. I think it's lasting until they feel that the numbers are stabilizing, like they have in China and South Korea, which they.
But those numbers
not,
are only stabilized there because people are still in quarantine.
But they have not stabilized in other countries such as Italy, United States.
Well, that's because they're in the early stages of the infection, just like China was before they locked everyone away.
Sure. South Korea. What did South Korea end up with total number wise?
I don't know.
But I mean, America, we jumped up like 300 people today. We only have 1,300. That's we
only have 1,300 confirmed because we're not tested.
But confirmed we jumped up 300. We almost a third increase today.
I guarantee you that 1,300 number is more like 13,000.
I don't deny that that's the case. I think, though, there is a danger and a fear because they still don't quite know how to combat this thing effectively. They need to stop it from spreading as much as possible. Excuse me. And to do that, they're realizing that they have to stop mass gatherings of people, which would be stop places like Disney, stop things like sports. I think my hospital is, and I had a long talk with my emergency preparedness person today about it, and it was funny, he didn't like directly come out and just say he agreed with me, but he was talking about how there's rash jumps to conclusions at the beginning and that things are still being re-examined to determine in this fluid situation, almost making it sound like he was agreeing with my statements and hoping that things were going to change. But they basically jumped on the bandwagon more or less of saying that we are a hospital system, therefore we are staying functional. We are not having people teleworking. In fact, we want people there supporting the frontline clinicians on site as much as possible. And
That seems silly.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah. Seems crazy.
Granted, this is all third party discuss. There's not been messaging directly about that, but I'm hearing it from somebody who was at a meeting where it was said from the leadership. So who knows? It might be being misconstrued. So it's very possible that that's not actually what's happening. But the concept of that just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. No, I don't understand what's to be gained.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost like a
We are
morale-based thing or something.
Yeah, you're not sending your direct line people home because they still have people they have to take care of. Yeah, I get that. That's nature of being a nurse. I understand that there's people that have to be there to do support and things like that. I can even understand if you said that I, in my position as the director of a department that could like be in charge of, something that I would be required to be there. But why my team? Like, if they can function from home, why wouldn't you want them to be? Maybe not. Like I said, I'm still not talking about now because I'm not, concerned. We don't have any confirmed cases. We have a few suspected ones still, but we still don't have any confirmed cases or anything like that. So I'm not saying to enact now. I'm still talking about planning for when it happens.
So how many testing supplies does your hospital have?
I have absolutely no idea. I know that to test, we send them out because I was just called after work today and asked to build a report. I'm the reports guy who can get reports on the fly for people as they need them. And I was asked to generate the report of all the tests that we've sent out so that they can keep tracking those patients and waiting.
So what are you sending out, like blood work?
We're sending out blood work. A blood worker, and I think it says, I ran the order just to see what it was when I was making the report so I could make sure I had it on a test patient. I put the order in and made sure the report was pulling it appropriately. And I think it said a source nasal, so I'm assuming it's some type of nasal or sputum, nasal swab or a sputum culture of some type. But I don't know enough about it. But it goes out to, I think it's LabCorp.
Oh, really?
LabCorp or Quest. Those are the two big outside testing companies. I just don't remember which one they said that this one goes through. But one of them has the test and one of them doesn't. We're apparently supposed to be getting machines on site that can do the testing, but we don't have them yet. I think that all this testing and stuff is so new. I think it's really funny that people are baffled that I can't believe that they delayed so much in getting the testing. To an extent, sure, you're not mass testing in cases where you should be. They created a test for something they knew nothing about in fucking record time.
Sure. But I mean, I was reading today that there was a meeting with Trump in January about this. And they just didn't take it seriously at all. They were told then, this is a possibility. This is a thing that might be developing. Maybe you should care.
Yeah, but there's random. How many of those things happen on a regular basis as well? How many? Things,
I don't know.
Yeah, how many things is somebody in the position of the president of the United States or somebody in that area, how often are they told something oh, this is something you got to watch out for, and absolutely nothing comes from it? So when the one time it does happen and something comes from it and you didn't act, they're like, see, told you. But it's yeah, but this is 1% of the time something's happened. So you got, because I don't know the answer to that. So I'm not I'm not going to sit there and defend Trump for the sake of defending Trump. But I potentially can defend him not doing anything about it at that point. I do recall when the first time I heard or read a news article about this new mystery virus in these cases that were popping up in China. And it was with I think it was the third or fourth person they were said was infected with this new mystery virus. And I was like, man, this is almost the beginnings of one of those, stories or those movies that you read about. And then I kind of ignored it and moved on with it. But I remember thinking that the first article I read on it, I was like, man, new mystery virus in China. This is crazy. And then all of a sudden it was wow, it's happening. And granted, we're lucky. I almost bet that we're lucky with the fact that it's similar to the flu. I'm not saying it's, the same or anything like that, but hell, it could have been something terrible.
New strain of Ebola or something.
Yeah, new strain of Ebola, the plague,
Mm.
Something like smallpox strain 2, like that would be
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely worse possibilities.
Granted, we still don't actually know what the final say is on this whole thing. And like, I don't know, like those people when they got Ebola, when Ebola was being the big problem a couple of years ago, and those few Americans that got it, like they're like immune to it now, right? Because didn't they use that one dude's blood as like making the antibodies for the first guy who like ended up like self-curing essentially? They used his blood to help make the antibodies for those other two like hospital workers that had got it from the patient that they were with. Is this one more like the flu where it's, have they come out and said, is this like
They
something
haven't.
every
They don't.
year? Or is it like, I've got it, it's over, oh, now I'm immune from
Right. We don't know.
Forever.
We don't know. I feel like it's probably not that case because that's not the case with SARS, which is another coronavirus. So I feel like that's something you can catch more than once.
Yeah. So is this going to be like we get a handle on it now, and then nobody does anything, and next year in COVID season we have the exact same problem?
Well, see, that's kind of what my point is. Like, I guess the difference or the situation here can be that right, the difference between like this and the flu, and I talked about this today on the podcast. If you guys want to join the podcast, though, patreon.com/MindCrack. Anyways, one thing I talked about on the podcast today was
cheap plug.
Yeah, right. The difference is preparedness. So like with the flu, people are taking vaccines and stuff like that. So you have like the tribal immunity sort of thing. It's not tribal. What's it called?
Immunity.
Yeah, herd immunity. With this, we don't have that. So I think that's what the whole goal here is, to stall until we do, right?
I mean, I don't know. And for those who are listening and don't know what herd immunity is the concept of like so many people getting vaccinated to something that even the people who you're almost non-vaccinated people can be protected by the mass numbers that are vaccinated like around you.
Right.
Though it doesn't work when everybody becomes an anti-vaxxer, and
yes.
more and more people. Yeah, the more and more people that becomes a straight up anti-vaxxers, it basically destroys the concept of the herd immunity, because you don't have. It's not the mentality that the very few people anymore, because the few is now many, are protected from, the many who can't get it, and therefore. But anyways, are we waiting for it to be herd immunity? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I feel like that's what we're doing. That's why I'm saying, like,
well, we can't do it if there's no vaccine for it yet, though.
Well, and exactly, and like, even if there's a vaccine by the end of the year, that'll be the quickest vaccine's ever been developed in human history. So, like, but if you're waiting that long,
it'll be perfect, though.
Yeah, will it? So yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, the infrastructure of America cannot handle the shutdown that we've basically imposed at its minimum stage right now for more than a month.
Why? Why do stock markets crash? I almost just don't understand. Like, the whole world is in the same problem. So is somebody just going, "Holy shit, sell," and that like causes a spit? Like, why do the stocks just tumble?
Well, I mean,
wrap my head around it.
All of the stocks are based on your perception of things, right? It's not. It's basically magic.
Okay, true. It's basically.
I mean, really, it is. It's how people perceive the economy that affects the stock market. It's not really based on anything other than a lot of gut, right? I mean, like you can look at all of these statistics and probability of based on if these things that have happened, how it's going to affect the ability for the economy to function as it currently does. And so that's why people sell their stocks, because they're like, well, this shit's not going to go up at the way things are happening, so I might as well get rid of it now while it's high. And the more people do that, the more it's like a self-feeding thing. You know what I mean? Like,
but like you said, magically, it's based on nothing. I can't say
it's based on the perception.
It's not completely based on nothing, but so COVID comes around, and all of a sudden, everybody then is determined that all stocks are worthless, so they start selling like when it's high. Like, that's where I can't wrap around why did it start a massive panic sell-off.
I mean,
I'm not a
to
stock person, so I don't,
I'm not either. But I feel like this one is kind of easy to see, like, and easy to understand. Like just like the global economy has been greatly affected just by like the shutting down of factories and stuff like that in China. So like that alone changes like the way things are made, like the cost of things and that sort of thing, which directly affects the economy, which directly affects the stock market. Right?
Sure. But are the stocks basically saying what the company's worth?
To some degree. I've never quite understood that portion of it, because you have companies like Amazon where their shares are super high, but then you have other companies like Delta and stuff that is responsible for so much of our travel, and their shares are under $100. So it's
But how many
the
more
price.
shares do they have?
What do you mean? Like how many more available?
Yeah. If you have a
Yeah, I don't
company
know.
that has 100 shares, they're probably going to be, a lot higher dollar valued to get the market cap of the company or the value of the company, right?
Right.
So the difference between one stock being worth $100 and one stock being worth $20, I think is a different answer than. I just don't understand what caused the sell off. Like, it just I get it. I expected the sell off, but I don't logically know why.
I mean, I don't feel like I can give a better answer than my current guess of its magic.
Okay, I do understand the concept of magic.
I don't know when it's going to recover. I feel like that's. I don't think anything's going to be stable for some time. Honestly,
I mean, when you say sometime though, are you talking,
I'm talking about like for the rest of this year.
Okay, but you're not talking the 10-year.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess it depends on how we move forward past this, and there's a lot of unknowns still too, right? So I feel like there's too much unknown to make a good guess. Like, there's not enough information to make an educated guess on how long we're affected by this. Like, I feel like this is another thing I said on the podcast that you can view at patreon.com/mindcrack. I think it was actually even in the premium episode, so you're gonna have to subscribe to that Patreon to hear the in-depth analysis from educated
The in-depth
individual.
stock trading advice.
But like 9/11, some things will be changed by this that change forever. I think.
Agreed.
So like, just like, I mean, I remember pre 9/11, we would go to the airport even when we didn't have flights sometimes and just like go hang out. I'm in the bed.
Yeah, and you could like walk through security and go.
Yeah, you just go through security, and it's like a mall. It was just like going to the mall basically, and you could watch planes take off and stuff like that, and it was cool. I imagine having access to like the Delta Lounge would have been fucking fantastic like that back then. Go hang out. It's like a bar that you can go to with free drinks.
Well, they
what
might
if
have
lounges
checked,
were like cheaper?
They might have checked your
I mean,
ticket though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lounge.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, I plenty of times I've landed now, like my trip is over basically, but I still go to the Delta Lounge and get a few drinks.
Do they let you do that? Because I heard
Absolutely.
I heard that was one of the things that changed recently.
Really?
Yeah, that you had to have a departing ticket from that airport, and I think it was specifically to combat like that exact thing, is stopping and going to the lounge. But I do remember when you came out to visit me, you straight up said like you went and got lunch at the lounge before you like headed over to the house.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's part of it, right? Like I know when I go to London, I go to the lounge, I take a shower and stuff, and that's actually something they expect you to do.
Maybe international is different. I don't know though. It was something I had read because they were talking about a lot of lounges losing like their value for many people. It was not specifically about Delta Lounge though, so I don't know. Maybe Delta has different.
Yeah,
different
I hope so.
Rules.
I mean, because I don't feel like I am abusing this system. I feel like I'm just. I don't know. I mean, I feel like you should be able to use it on both ends of your flight because, like, Or especially like whenever like I've gone to somewhere where we're all kind of meeting in a location, and like my flight might be like 6 hours different from the next person. Like I don't mind hanging out in the Delta Lounge for 6 hours and like doing some work on my laptop and drinking a bunch of drinks and having a buffet, that sort of thing. But like I don't want to sit in the fucking airport for 6 hours waiting on someone. So I'd be pretty disappointed if they changed it where it's only departing flights that get access.
Yeah, no, I mean,
This is totally a first world problem.
yeah,
But
very much so, very much so. I mean, what's coronavirus going to do to your lounges?
dude, you should see how. Have you been looking at flights? My
No,
daughter's
but I've
flight
heard
to
they're
Orlando, I
super
looked to
cheap.
Mendigo to see how much it costs because, like, whenever I booked it, it was $160. It's $48 now.
Nice. Did you cancel and rebook?
No, I didn't. I didn't buy travel insurance, so I can't cancel the flight.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
What's
so
a first class ticket?
It was 190. I think is what it said.
Yeah.
I'm in the bed, by the way.
Oh, I'm in, not a bed. I'm in a toilet.
Yeah. Why are you in the toilet? You clean it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to clean it up. So I'm not near a bed. I don't think. Is there one? Oh, is there one? There's one up top, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me go over there. Dilly dally and do other things first for a while. Yeah, well, I do know it's interesting because with my priority pass, I get some the priority pass lounges and all, and it specifically says for them that you're not supposed to do it. I've never tried though. You have to show like your ticket when you go in and everything, and but but there are some of the interesting priority pass things that they do. Oh, there's no bed up here anymore.
Oh, well, shit. I guess I can get out. I don't have to sleep. The sun's rising.
Oh, okay.
So I sat in bed the entire night. I said a couple times, but I was like mid sentence when I said it, so I think it like you didn't hear me.
But there's some of the restaurants that you can go to that give you like $28 off your bill, including alcohol, which is nice because there's like not enough lounges and stuff in certain places, and those don't ever ask for
right.
anything
Yeah,
to
they
do
don't
with your
care.
ticket. So literally, if I landed back at the DC airport and it was in one of the terminals that had one of those restaurants, I could just grab $28 worth of free lunch before I went home.
I mean, and I feel like you should, like, well, you're not gonna get your value from these things unless you do it like that.
The problem is you've gone to the DC airport before. You've probably only been in the Delta hub though. There's A, B, and C terminals. So, and you can connect between A and part of the B terminal, but it's a very long walk. But the B and the C terminals are split into like B, there's like gates 1 through 4, and then the gates like 5 through 8, and then gates 11 through 14 or something like that, and 2 of them are connected with a walkway, and 2 of them are like completely separate. So unless you happen to be in one of the terminals that has one of these restaurants in it, you can't get there.
I do know I did not like the DC airport last time I was there.
I'm trying to think where Delta's at. Is it probably in the Charlie hub? I'm not really sure.
I remember going into the place and having to go right. Does that help?
Yup. Right.
Well, there was like multiple terminals, and the one I had to go to was to the right after I went through security.
I mean, I guess
that's where the Delta Lounge was, and the Delta Lounge was like up above where you could like look down and like see everyone going through security. I did like that. That was a fun view.
Yeah, and I've never been to the Delta Lounge at that
it's
airport.
Tiny. It's one of the smallest ones I've ever seen.
Well, I know, and it's really annoying going through Baltimore because there's ABC and D&E terminal. D&E terminal are together, and ABC are together, and of course the lounge that I have access to is like in the E terminal, and I've only flown out of the D or E terminal once ever.
Oh,
so
that sucks.
But the lounge is kind of crappy. It's a really small room. It's probably smaller than this Delta Lounge you're speaking of. It's just a small room that has like snacks out. There wasn't even like drinks.
Oh, that's awful. That's too bad.
So.
Wonder if this infinity portal still goes somewhere.
I'm sure it goes somewhere. Just who knows where.
Because that season of Hermitcraft is ended.
Well then.
Well, with that mystery on your minds, we should probably end this episode here.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.